Still don't know why I took that detour. Even after all these years, whenever I think about that night, a cold pressure settles behind. My ribs, like my body remembers something. My mind still tries to forget. It was the winter of 1996, a Friday night, and I was driving toward Raven Crest City for a last-minute meeting. The kind you can't decline, even if every part of you is tired and begging for sleep. I'd already been on the road for 5 hours. My eyes were burning, my fingers stiff from the cold, and the highway ahead of me was pitch dark, just a straight line swallowed by fog. The kind of fog that eats headlights and makes you feel like you're driving inside a dream. But I kept going. I had to. The company had asked for a set of documents before 9 a.m., and if I didn't deliver, months of my work would fall apart. I kept telling myself it was just 1 more hour, just 60 more minutes. Then I hit it. A long row of blinking orange barricade lights, stretching from one side of the highway to the other. Road closed, major construction. I slammed the brakes and just stared at it. No workers, no trucks, no alternate signs. Just a completely sealed road with nothing but fog behind it and silence all around. My GPS froze for 5 seconds, rebooted, then suddenly a new route flashed. Rerouting. Take old Crescent Road detour. I frowned. Crescent Road. I had never heard of it. The map showed a thin grey line curling into the woods and reconnecting to the main highway after a few miles. Looked harmless. Old maybe, but harmless. And I didn't have a choice. I checked the time. 12:47 MT. If I turned back and looked for another path, I'd lose hours. My job, everything, depended on getting there by morning. So I took a deep breath, shifted into drive, and followed the detour sign. The paved highway slowly transformed into a narrow, single-lane road with broken guardrails and tall, dead trees leaning over it like they were listening. My headlights cut through the fog in a thin blade, revealing cracked asphalt and patches of old paint that looked decades old. The silence outside was too thick, unnatural. Even the engine sounded louder than usual, echoing through the emptiness. After about 10 minutes, I finally saw it. A rusted metal board on the right side of the road. Crescent Bridge, 1 mile ahead. I exhaled slowly. A bridge. Good. That meant the detour really was taking me across the river and back to the highway. But something about the sign bothered me. The paint was peeling. The metal was oxidized. It looked like it hadn't been maintained in decades. Still, I kept moving. The fog grew heavier. The road curved slightly, and through the white haze, I finally saw the outline of a long steel bridge stretching into nothingness. I remember gripping the steering wheel a little tighter. Not because I was scared. Not yet. But because something about that bridge felt wrong, like it was waiting for me. And with my fuel dropping, no signal, and the pressure of that morning meeting crushing my chest, I didn't think twice. I drove straight onto the Crescent Bridge. The last normal decision I made that night. The first few seconds on the Crescent Bridge felt normal. Just the hum of the tires rolling over metal plates and the soft drumming of rain on the windshield. But something felt off. I didn't notice it at first. Maybe because I was exhausted, or because the fog had turned everything into the same dull shade of grey. But around the 30-second mark, I started feeling a strange tightness in my chest. The kind you get right before you realize something's not right. I remember glancing at the dashboard clock. 02:59 am, my speed, 14 peak. Then I saw on a lamppost on the bridge, a tall, thin metal pole with a cracked base and a flickering bulb. The kind of thing you barely even pay attention to. But maybe it stuck in my head because of the flicker, or because the chipped paint at the bottom looked like the shape of a crooked V. Anyway, I passed it and drove further. The bridge seemed long, longer than I expected. The fog thickened behind my car, swallowing everything except the faint glow of my taillights in the mirror. I rubbed my eyes. I was tired. Maybe that's why I didn't trust myself when I saw it the second time. The same lamppost, same height, same flicker, same chipped paint shaped like a crooked V. No, that couldn't be right. I slowed down a little, telling myself there must be 2 identical poles. Bridges often have repeating structures. Same design, same spacing. But then 60 seconds later, I passed it again. Same flickering lamp. Same crack. Same pattern on the metal railing. Next to it, a long scratch shaped like a slanted line. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I wasn't imagining it. I knew I wasn't. This bridge isn't that long, I whispered to myself. I checked the trip meter. 09 miles. The bridge should have ended already. I pressed the gas just a little, more to reassure myself than anything. The engine responded. The speed climbed, and for a moment, I convinced myself it was all in my head. Then the radio crackled. Not music, not voices, just a sudden burst of static, like someone had dragged a nail across a metal plate inside the speakers. It lasted 2 seconds. Then everything went dead silent again. I turned the volume knob down, even though there was nothing playing anymore. My heartbeat was louder than the engine. To distract myself, I looked at the fuel gauge. It had dropped. Not drastically, but enough for me to feel a cold prickle run down my spine. I wasn't driving uphill. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't in heavy traffic. So why was I burning fuel faster? And why did the air inside the car suddenly feel colder? As if the temperature had dropped the moment I reached the bridge. I leaned forward and squinted through the fog. And why did the air inside the car suddenly feel colder? As if the temperature had dropped the moment I reached the bridge. I leaned forward and squinted through the fog. And then, through the haze, I saw the outline of something ahead. A sign. I felt relief for half a second, until I got close enough to read it. 40 speed limit. The paint was peeling. The left corner was bent. A small rust circle sat near the middle. I had passed that sign already. Twice. I pressed my foot to the brake just a little. Not enough to stop. Just enough to slow down. And there it was again. The same lamppost. Same flicker. Same rust. Same scratch. Like the bridge was folding itself and feeding the same stretch of road back to me, over and over again. A quiet panic settled in my body. Not the screaming kind, the cold kind. The kind that makes your hands numb and your breathing shallow. I checked the rearview mirror, hoping, praying I'd see the end of the bridge behind me. But all I saw was fog, thick, motionless, like a wall. I wasn't sure when I said it out loud or why, but I remember my own voice echoing inside the car. This bridge isn't supposed to be this long. For a moment, I just stared ahead, trying to convince myself there had to be a logical explanation. Fatigue, fog, maybe my mind repeating the details because everything looked the same. But logic only works until the road starts arguing back. 5 minutes passed, maybe more. The clock on the dashboard felt slower, almost delayed, like the seconds weren't syncing with my breathing. I kept driving, gradually accelerating. 40 45, 50. I wanted to break through the bridge, force it to end, prove to myself that this was just a long detour after all. But the faster I drove, the longer the bridge stretched. And then I saw something that made my stomach twist. A mile marker. Small. White. Old. I drove closer. Mile 3. I frowned. I hadn't even seen mile 1 or mile 2. Before I could process it, the radio crackled again. A deep, low hum, almost like a slow mechanical pulse. And the dashboard lights dimmed for half a second. The engine shuddered, as if something cold had passed through the car. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. What the hell is happening? The fog outside the windshield thickened into a pale wall. The wipers dragged across the glass with a slow, sticky sound. My headlights barely pushed 10 feet ahead. Then, just as I began to ease off the gas, another mile marker appeared through the haze. Mile 2, I whispered it out loud. Mile 2? That wasn't possible. I turned around, stupidly hoping the marker behind me would say mile 3 again. But there was nothing there. Just the endless bridge swallowed in fog. Sweat prickled across my back. My GPS screen was glowing dimly, frozen on a blue line that didn't move. The little car icon was stuck on the bridge, not advan. The entire map zoomed out violently, revealing nothing but a blank grid. No roads, no cities, no river. Just a pulsing white void with a single thin line splitting through it. The Crescent Bridge. I jabbed the screen with my finger. It went black. That's when I felt it. The car slowing down. On its own. My foot was still on the gas, but the speedometer needle dipped from 50 to 40, then 35, then 30. The engine wasn't losing power. The car wasn't malfunctioning. It felt like something ahead was pulling me back. I took a shaky breath and pressed the pedal deeper. The car resisted, then jerked forward, and the fog peeled open just enough to reveal the next sign. A shape I had been desperately hoping not to see again. The woody speed limit sign. Bent corner. Peeling paint. Rust dot. The same one. I let out a shaky, confused laugh. Okay. Calm down. You're looping. It's just a loop. It's a trick of the fog. But even my own voice didn't believe me. I checked the fuel gauge. Another dot. And I finally saw something new. On the right side, far ahead, a faint exit ramp, a short curved road that split from the bridge and disappeared into the darkness at an angle. My heart flooded with relief. Finally. Ooh, I pressed the accelerator and aimed the car directly toward it. It was maybe 100 meters away. I could see the guardrail, the curve, the darker patch of asphalt. I kept my eyes locked on it. 90 meters, 80, 70. And then the fog thickened again. Not a natural kind, a sudden wall, a fast, unnatural curtain that swallowed the exit ramp whole. I blinked hard, wiped the windshield with my sleeve, even though the glass was clean. The ramp was still there, still visible, still lit faintly by my headlights. But no matter how far I drove, it stayed the same distance away. Always about 100 meters ahead. Never closer, never farther. Like the bridge wanted me to see hope, but not reach it. My brain couldn't process it. My body knew before my mind did. Don't remember when I stopped talking to myself. People think you panic loudly when you're scared. But the truth is, the deeper the fear, the quieter you become. And somewhere between that looping lamppost and the unreachable exit ramp, I became completely silent. My brain felt disconnected, like I wasn't in my body anymore. Just watching myself drive through a tunnel of fog and metal that refused to end. I forced myself to focus on the road. Headlights, railings, repeating scratches, repeating signs, repeating everything. I had to break the loop. I had to do something. So I did the only thing that made sense. I stopped the car. Not fully. Just slowed down till I was crawling. Then I braked gently and rolled to a complete stop right beside that familiar flickering lamppost. For the first time since I entered the bridge, the car became still. The fog pressed against the windows like a living thing. The bridge hummed underneath me, a faint vibration like distant machinery buried deep in metal. I stepped out. The air was colder than I expected, a biting cold that stung my cheeks and made each breath feel too sharp. The lamppost flickered above me, casting long, broken shadows on the railing. I touched the scratched metal, the same notch I had passed at least 5 times. I wasn't imagining it. I wasn't dreaming. I was trapped. I leaned over the railing, hoping to see water below. Something real. Something physical. But there was nothing. Just fog. White. Empty. Endless. Like the river. Wasn't even there. My heart sank into my stomach. I turned my back to the railing and stared down the road. And then I noticed something. The fog swallowed the words immediately. For a few seconds I just stood there, fingers trembling, mind empty. Then a single thought hit me. Simple, sudden, terrifying. If the exit won't come to me, I have to go to it. I ran back to the car, jumped inside, engine roared, tires screeched. I floored the accelerator, pushing the car harder than I ever had. The exit ramp stayed the same distance away. 40 seconds. A minute. 2 minutes. Still the same distance. I screamed at the windshield, slapped the steering wheel, begged the car to move faster, but the ramp stayed frozen in place, like it existed on a screen. And I was inside a looped video. Then, out of desperation, I did something reckless. I spun the wheel and aimed the car directly toward the side railing. If I couldn't leave the bridge forward or backward, maybe I could break it sideways. The metal barrier rushed toward me, fog behind it, and just as the car slammed into the railing, it didn't break. It didn't dent. It didn't even... I sat there panting, forehead against the steering wheel, trying not to break down. The bridge wasn't just long. It wasn't just looping. It was designed not to let anyone leave. Fuel warning beeped. My gauge dipped near empty. And that's when I saw it. A small metal plate, bolted into the lamppost outside my window. I'd passed this pole a dozen times, but I'd never looked close enough. The plate was old, rusted, barely readable, but when I wiped the grime with my sleeve, letters appeared. Not a date, not a number, a name. Crescent Bridge Reconstruction Project. Status discontinued. Reason structural failure. All access closed, 1975. I felt my entire body go numb. Nay, discontinued, closed. This bridge shouldn't exist. Not in 1996. Not now. Not tonight. I looked around slowly, terrified to breathe, terrified not to. Then I whispered the last words I remember saying that night. So where the hell am I? The fog outside didn't move. It didn't need to. It already had me.